Speaking of let's run and do other things, Joe Judge, his New York Giants, Jason Garrett, Patrick Graham, all those guys come in this weekend. And I had a chance to sit down and watch the Giants play last night. The Giants are 1-3, and they had a nice victory, by the way, against the Saints to go into New Orleans and get that the W there.
What was the turning point?
Yeah, it was the turning exactly.
Playing the Falcons.
Yeah, the turning point. The what's interesting about the football Giants coming in, we need to keep an eye on the injury report this weekend for them because they've got they're down some wide receivers. But what's happened is with Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton, they're both dealing with hamstring problems. But what it's allowed them to do is Kenny Golladay and then Kadarius Toney, who their first-round pick from Florida, has gotten a lot more action. They've mixed in Colin Johnson. He got him on waivers from Jacksonville. C.J. Board was another guy from Jacksonville they worked in there. And then now they've added John Ross, who was a first-round pick, a bust from the Cincinnati Bengals. And he is the one guy when you watch him, both him and Toney have that ability to, as we say, take the top off that defense. They can get
4-2 guy.
Yeah, they can get vertical in a hurry, and that's what Ross was able to do. In this last game,
until he breaks his legs, boy, he is dynamic. He's a nightmare.
So our safeties will be challenged.
Well, I thought last week that you would see some deep shots down the field with against it, but it just didn't happen. It didn't materialize. I'd be interested to see if they have the respect. I mean, it seems like the teams are respecting the Cowboys safety, but you have guys like I say, Toney and Ross both can run. Golladay is going to be a hard cover. I'm trying to figure out, and I want to say if Sterling, Shepard, and Slayton don't play, then I have a feeling that you're going to get Diggs is going to travel with Golladay, and then now we'll see Brown have to deal with Toney. Now, Brown.
Who does Toney remind you of? I know he was a high pick, but if you were to say, man, he reminds me of this wide receiver that we might know through the history of football.
Well, okay, how about a guy like, he's a little bit bigger. I mean, Santana Moss was kind of a smaller kind of a guy that you remember back in the day with the football team. This guy's a little bit more of a 5'11", but when you watch him play, when you look at him on tape, he's a little bit of a smaller type of a guy. I mean, he looks small on tape.
Fast and quick.
Yeah, fast and quick. And he's, he catches the ball underneath, and he's going to give you a lot of moves along the way. So keep an eye on the injury report this week for Shepard and Slayton. But they're getting Golladay, Toney, Ross. Those guys are getting them ready for this game this week. Andrew Thomas has been out. He's this week. He missed practice today. He's the left tackle. He's dealing with a little bit of a foot problem there. But if you want to take advantage of this New York Giant offensive line, I think it's going to be at right tackle with Nate Solder. I mean, he's the guy to me that's always been when you look at the Giants and you say, okay, here they are. They spent so much money on this guy to kind of come in and play from New England. I'd say he's probably been a pretty big disappointment for them. They keep running him out there, but he's light in the rear. He's not very strong. He's one of those guys you can kind of walk back. You can beat him. He used to be a pretty good foot athlete, but he's really, really not. I'm surprised they blocked the Saints as well as they did, but they blocked him well without him being one of the primary blockers. Even though
he didn't play.
He played, but he wasn't. I mean, it was like his
Saints didn't attack him well enough.
I don't think they attacked him nearly as enough as you need to. And they have another guard, this Ben Bredson, and they got him in a trade from the Ravens, and he's number 68, and he's the left guard. So the two guys I would look at would be the left guard 68, Bredson, and then Nate Solder, the right tackle. Those would be the two spots I kind of feel like that's a little bit of a weakness along this Giant offensive line. If you can maybe match up, you get an Osa matchup, you get Parsons or you get Randy over on Nate Solder, I think you could break either one of those guys down and have some success.
Is Dan Quinn great at going against teams' weaknesses?
Yeah, I think he's done a nice job of attacking various programs. When they've had bad players, he's matched up some of his better guys. You're going to have to worry about this game. I will say this about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is throwing the ball down the field more in the games I watched. The ball, like I say, they've taken a little bit more deeper shots. We all remember Jason Garrett. One of his better plays that he did was that dig route, that deep inside cutting route. That's where it seems that Daniel Jones has had some success. He hasn't turned over the ball a ton in this, and there were some tip passes along the line of scrimmage that could have been intercepted that weren't. Where you're going to have to worry about Daniel Jones in this game, guys, is running the football.
Yeah.
You're going to have to worry about him. All of a sudden, you're playing man coverage and you're running away, and then you lose contain, and then he takes off running. They're actually doing read option stuff with him where he's faking the read inside to Saquon Barkley. Everybody's going with Barkley, and then he's taking off and running with the football and actually having some success doing that. Get ready for a screenplay to Saquon Barkley in this game. That's what they like to do. They're going to get him the ball in space. They're going to hand him the ball. There's a couple times the Saints were able to bottle him up, but then when they really, really needed a big play to get back in the game, it was a big pass to Barkley, and he was able to make it happen on the wheel route.
As far as Barkley goes in that offensive line and Jones, overall as a running game, do you feel like they have the potential to really unlock something and run over you?
It's more about Barkley than it is about guys up front, and you would think that guys like Will Hernandez and Billy Price and those guys and Andrew Thomas who've got some size to them, you figure they would be a little bit more physical with that, but it's really more about the runner and his ability to find a hole or to bounce it outside. You got to get bodies to the ball with Barkley. I mean, you got to get him on the ground. He's a little bit like Zeke when he gets it inside, and next thing you know, it's a 4-yard run, but he's squirted through and he's got an extra couple of yards when you felt like you had him tackled. So that's going to be a real key. The quarterback running, the health of the wide receivers, a couple of spots along that offensive line. You know, this is a team that offensively I think that Dan Quinn's going to be able to get after. On defense, guys, they're not playing as well as they've played in the last year or so. They've struggled to win some games, but Leonard Williams is a really good player. Dexter Lawrence is a big inside defensive tackle you have to deal with. This Azeez Ojulari is like an outside linebacker, number 51. He's like a legitimate pass rusher. So keep an eye on Ojulari. He's out of Georgia. He was a second-round pick. Their secondary, I think, is pretty good. Bradbury from Carolina. Peppers at safety. I think he's better down player than he really is a cover player. They use Logan Ryan as a cover player too, but he's more of a free. And then Adoree Jackson that they got from the Tennessee Titans is a really, really good cover guy. He runs well. He's got quickness. He can stay in position. So they've got a couple of corners that could play. I do like Logan Ryan better than Jabril Peppers at safety. And keep an eye on Ojulari as their best pass rusher with big inside players, like I say, Leonard Williams and then also Dexter Lawrence. But they just, again, have not had the success that they had last year playing defense. And Patrick Graham, I think, is a pretty good defensive coordinator. Has done a nice job. But in this case, I think that they're lacking a little bit some of that. Really some nice players, but just not getting it done like they did before.